All right. Cool. Okay, so I'm Bonnie Serratore, creator of the Serratore method, which is a very potent, powerful healing modality. I want to talk about the well of grief. Okay, the well of grief. I remember when I first discovered the well of grief, I had just I'd been in practice for a little over a year in Auburn, California, and had a client come in. And it was just so much sadness. And so I started tracking it. It's like, whoa, I literally saw it looked just like a well, like a really deep, 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 deep well. And that well had massive, massive, massive grief in it. Okay. So when I found that, I started tracking other people and of course found that, wow, it's everywhere. It's everywhere. Everyone's got this massive well of grief, okay, that we're all trying to deal with. And it's like, it doesn't just go away. Every time you reincarnate, you still have all that energy in that frequency of that well of grief. And it's just massive. Okay. It's different than, like, for example, we got all this energy in the chakras. Okay. When you think about the second chakra, which is that emotional center, sexual emotional center, and there's, you carry all that kind of grief, really intense griefs, but the well of grief is different. Okay. It is different. And when I look at it, when I first found it, literally it was like in the very core. Okay. And that's where it is. It's like it's in the very core of your whole being, of the body. Okay. And in that, it's just massive, massive, massive. So for those of you who have been doing a lot of, your own inner work, a lot of that really sadness, trying to get to the root of all your sadness, it's like, if you just clean out, just do the chakra stuff, all the stuff in the chakras, yeah, it makes a difference. But unless you get that well of grief, it's going to be very, very deep and intense for people for all their incarnations. Okay. It doesn't just go away. So we're doing a series on the well of grief. Okay. We've never done one yet. I mean, I've done a couple things on well of grief, but the series is really about different pieces that people can relate to. For example, feeling abandoned and forsaken. That's our first one. Okay. Then the other one is soul-shattering despondency. Where you're just in such deep, deep pain, deep, deep grief and sadness. And then the third one is on loss of others and self. Okay. Think about that. I mean, think about this lifetime. Have you ever lost anyone, even a critter? The intensity of that emotion is crazy, just intense. Okay. So you've got that kind of things happen. And then you also have the dark force interference. It's unfortunate, but dark force interference can interfere with just about anything in your life. Okay. And when you think about how did you even get dark force interference, well, you have to understand that as a soul evolving, you're not wanting to know yourself in all ways. Okay. So we all went into that dark stuff. We all sold our soul to the devil, so to speak. Okay. And that doesn't just go away. Okay. But that's what those interferences are about is, you've made agreements, you've done some kind of oath or vow or promise, or you got involved with some kind of, sorcery, wizardry, black magic, voodoo, things of that nature, where you've opened the doors. Okay. To this day, I have friends that use the powers of darkness, okay, to do spells and castings. This is still happening. Okay. And these are people that are awake, but whatever. So, you've opened these doors. So that's how that dark force interference starts to happen. It's like it interferes with your life. It interferes with, your ability to really clear and heal. I know for me personally, I've done my own inner work by going in and feeling. I've not used a whole lot of other people to clear my energy. I do most of it myself. And I just want to say that it was for the first time in my life happened, was it last year? Sometime last year, late last year, or maybe even early this year, where I got some really profound pieces and went through the intensity, and that sadness has never been the same. Like I can't even, it's like things will happen. I'm going, okay, I'm feeling a little bit of sad, but there's, I can't, there's nothing deeper than that. So it's more surfacey, it's like that deep pain, excruciating pain just doesn't exist anymore. It's gone. So that well of grief, it's really important to get that out. It will affect so much of your life. I mean, think about what you've lived in this lifetime, abandonments, betrayals, feeling unwanted, feeling like you're not enough, feeling unloved, not important, don't matter, don't belong. All these feelings have a major intensity to them. And by clearing out those energies out of that well of grief, what happens is you're no longer full of sadness. Okay, you're no longer that, where you're just inundated really deeply with a profound grief and sadness. It's lifted. Okay, so what would life be like if you didn't have that kind of energy? What would life be like if you were no longer feeling a sadness? Like, for example, think about this. If you're paying attention, just look in people's eyes. How many people have you actually met that their eyes have sparkly joy, happiness, that type of thing? Even people that are happy and to some degree, so if you look deeply into the eyes, you can still find and sense and see that really deep grief. Okay, like I'm saying, everyone has it. Everyone. Okay, I don't care how much money you have. I don't care, how much inner work you've done. If you haven't addressed this, then it's still there, and it will affect every facet of your life. Okay, so think about this. So you've got a belief or feeling of forsaken. You're not going to put yourself out. You're not going to bring attention to yourself. You're not going to let your light shine because you've got this belief that you're forsaken. Okay, forsaken. You've been abandoned. You're forsaken. So there's all kinds of other emotions and beliefs that are anchored in to that energy, to that feeling of, of abandoned and forsaken. And here's the thing. Whatever gets lodged in your subconscious, okay, if you got an angst in there, you have a belief, something happened in a past experience, past life experience, or even this experience, life, you have these beliefs and you're judging something, drawing a conclusion. Now you have this anchored into your subconscious. So if you have a belief that you're forsaken, okay, that energy is in your subconscious and it attracts like a magnet. So it's going to draw people and it's going to create where people act out in those ways where they will make you feel like you're abandoned and forsaken. See? So we're constantly co-creating our world, our lives, by what's held in the subconscious. So if you got a belief in there, which you do, all those energies in that well of grief, black energy, sadness, despondency, despair, helpless, hopeless, intense energies. As long as they're in there, they're going to be interfering with your life, with your abilities to create, to manifest, to receive. Okay? Think about the receiving. A lot of people, the masses are in, dire straits sometimes. A lot of angst, not enough, not enough. Working paycheck to paycheck, struggling every month. That's the masses, for real. Okay, the mass amounts of people in the world are actually doing that. So all of that energy, it's in the subconscious. So if you've got these beliefs, that's what you'll be creating. So if you look at your world, look at your life, are you creating a feeling of a world? Is your life full of abundance? Do you feel loved? Do you feel appreciated? Do you feel special? Do you feel unique? Do you feel important? Do you feel like you can shine your light without fear or anxiety or concern? Okay. So all of those emotions, okay, they get stuck in that well of grief. And when that happens, your life will continue to be the same. The same. Okay. So when you start understanding energy, okay, it's important that you really get this. Everything is energy. Your emotions are energy. Your thoughts are energy. Your physicality is energy. You know, everything is energy, okay? So when we look at emotions, emotions are energy in motion. That's what emotions are about. They're supposed to be moving up and out. Whenever you have an emotion, wow, it moves up and out, unless you push it down, which is what most people are doing. They're pushing down all those emotions because, for one thing, think about this. If you're feeling that feeling of forsaken, most people don't even know that that's what they're feeling. Okay, that's an emotion. You're feeling an emotion. You don't really know what it is, but it's painful and it hurts. What do? We try to get away from it, push it down, rise above it, do mantras, do anything to not feel. Well, unfortunately, that energy doesn't go away. It just packs in that well of grief even more. You're collecting more and more evidence, proof that life sucks, you're unsafe, you're going to be abandoned, you're not wanted, you've been forsaken, all that stuff. None of it's true or real, but we believe it in the subconscious. Okay, so our conscious mind may not be aware, but again, your subconscious is what dictates your reality 100%. Okay, and you got your higher levels working with everybody else's higher levels, or all your soul family higher levels, to bring the perfect person to you to activate your wound so that you can be done with it and heal it. See? So rather than thinking, oh, why is this happening to me? I must be bad. I must be being punished. Okay, I'm forsaken. Oh, wait. My higher levels brought this person into my world so that it could activate a deeper wound. And so rather than making it their fault, oh, I got activated. Here's the opportunity. Okay, here's the opportunity. Opportunity to heal. Opportunity to wake up. Opportunity. So all of your angst, all your people, all the people in your world, all the people in your life are opportunity. Especially if they're, activating wounding, which, think about this, if you understand the teachings, every reaction is based on a wounding that's already inside of your body. It's already anchored in. If it wasn't, you wouldn't be having that reaction. Okay? You would not have that reaction. Okay? There'd be no reaction in there. So, and I'm talking anything and everything. I don't care, whatever you're witnessing, whatever you are finding yourself responding to, reacting to, guaranteed there's a wounding. So if you if you really understand that, okay, then every time you have a reaction, rather than making it about somebody else, what are they doing to you? Or, I'm being punished. What if you realize that, oh, I have a wound in here. I'm having a reaction because of that wounding. I can unravel that. Oh, myself. Right. Okay. The key, though, is can you come in and drop in to the feelings without mind? No mind thoughts. No mind thoughts. Okay. In doing that, then what's happening is the soul is, you're in your body, you're in that emotion, you become that emotion. That's how the soul knows it, by becoming it. Okay. Once that happens, and the energy just releases, all that energy that was in the body literally releases up and out of the body, which is really cool. So the well of grief, again, it's different than the chakras, all the energies that are in the chakras. The well of grief is a major energy frequency that holds an amazing amount of pain, heartache, heartbreak, feeling like you're shattered, feeling like you're not enough, feeling like you're broken, the devastation of pain, of loss and abandonments and rejections. I mean, we're talking very intense emotions. Our we're all walking around, the walking wounded, everyone. I don't care if you're a billionaire 10 times over. It doesn't matter. Everyone's got the well of grief. Okay. I can just tell you from my own journey, as well as thousands of others, that you start healing that energy, you start releasing the frequencies, the energies in that well of grief, your life changes drastically. I mean, think about it. If you always have heartache, always pain, No matter what, it's always there. I know this. I remember this. You could be anywhere with people that you love, people having a good old time, but you just kind of check in, which is what I would do. I'd be checking in, checking in. Ah, yeah, there it is. Deep, deep sadness. Could never get it, could never release it until last year. That's a long time to have that. Okay, but the good news is you don't have to keep living with it. That series of the well of grief can literally unravel and clear massive, massive amounts of all that energy. And think about this, okay? So y'all know that, it's like a wounding is like layers, okay? It's like, let's just go way, way back. Let's go down here. This is like your earliest lifetimes of, gathering information, having angst, feeling unwanted, feeling unloved, don't matter, okay? Then you got another layers, and then more layers, and 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 layers, okay? So what happens is we start lifting those layers off. To try and come all the way down here, there's things that have to recalibrate in your whole system, okay? So trying to go on down here and get what's down here when you got all these layers on top doesn't work. Okay, I've tried it many times. Yeah, you get that piece, but it doesn't open all this up. So you come in, you start releasing all these top layers, and then ultimately in time, what happens is when you release these layers and the energy comes up to awareness, or at least to the top levels and layers of the subconscious, okay, making it more accessible for someone like myself, or for you to begin to feel it. Okay, when it's too deep, you can't find it. That was what was up for me. Remember, I was saying how I got a piece last year, one of the most deepest, profound pieces of my life. I could never have gotten that without getting all these other layers up first. Okay, that's why it took so long. Massive, massive, massive layers of grief, sadness had to come up and out. So then you've got the recording and you listen to it again. Okay, you keep listening, and every time it's going to go deeper, 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 deeper. Ultimately, what we want to get those deepest layers of that, whatever sadness that is, deep despair, despondency, okay, grief, get that out so that it's not in you anymore. It doesn't exist anymore. Your soul got it. It knows it. It's done. Your whole world changes. Your heart opens. Okay. No more fear of, expressing yourself, sharing the gift of you. Okay. And I do want to say, you're here to share the gift of you. Sure, you have other things that you'll be doing in the world, but the primary purpose of your existence is to be the absolute truth of who you are, absent all the wounding, absent the misperceptions, absent beliefs, absent conclusions, absent the poor me, the victim, all that stuff no longer there. Who are you? You're this amazing divine light being. Okay, and in that light, there's just peace, there's joy, there's happiness, there's contentment. Okay, and remember about the subconscious. So if you're shining, now you're vibrating, now your subconscious is echoing out an energy frequency of joy and happiness and peace and love and connection. What's going to happen in your world? What's going to happen in your life? More of that. More and more and more of that. Okay? So, Well of Grief, it's a 4-part series. First one is Abandoned and Forsaken. Second one is Soul Shattering Despondency. Third one is Loss of Others and Self. And the fourth one is Dark Force Interference. Okay? And again, everyone, there's no one in this world that doesn't have it. Even, you guys, when I first started seeking enlightenment, that's how I started my journey. I was seeking enlightenment, okay? Because I had direct experience. I was in a therapy session, talk therapy, and I just had, all of a sudden, I just went into the state of enlightenment, and I got up and I walked around the room. I'm looking out the window, and I'm just severely aware that there's nothing in me. There's no angst. There's nothing. There was nothing wrong with anything that I saw. Like normally, like for me, like, there was a bridge, and there was a bunch of garbage thrown over the bridge right there. It's like massive. People are just using it as a dumping. In my normal thoughts, my normal self, I'd be going, oh, wow, that's intense. That's like not okay. And even flowers, there were flowers in the room that were dying, and colors that were not my colors that I didn't really like, but nothing caused, there was no reaction to anything. There was a oneness with everything I experienced. And it was very peaceful, and there was no separation, no feeling of separation, no feeling of like, this is me, this is you, this is the world, whatever. So I've had those happen to me several times, but that particular time, it really set me off on the pursuit of enlightenment, which for me meant ending one's suffering, because that's what I experienced. There was no suffering in me at all, okay? I was in my light. I was in that pure conscious state of awareness, divine being, okay? So that began my journey. And then here I am, I'm telling you, this was 1984. What year is this? 2025, okay? So it's been quite some time. And, the work, everything I do is shifted and changed. And the pursuit of enlightenment, I changed my pursuit because I realized very quickly that, I started scanning the world. This is what happened. I started scanning the world, looking for true enlightenment. For me, true enlightenment is where we are, literally our heart is open. There's no fault finding of anything. It's just not in us. There's a connection of oneness that we experience with everything and everyone. And there's a sense of peace, there's no angst. Okay. So in that pursuit, what I realized is I started scanning, looking at the world, looking for the frequency, the energy of true and pure enlightenment. I only found like maybe back then, I think I only found, did I find one, maybe two people in the world that were in true, what I would call true enlightenment. Okay. When you think of beings like Ramana Maharshi, okay, that man was in a state of awareness, state of enlightenment, no attachment to anything. And if you know about him, you'll know, yeah, he had cancer. He died of cancer. And when his mom died, he actually cried. Okay. But he was, people came, thousands of people came to see this man, to be with him. His legacy was passed on to Papaji. Papaji passed it on to Gangaji. So Gangaji is now the one who carries the teachings of Ramana Maharshi, which is, enlightenment. So for me, what happened though was when I realized, I'm not going to get enlightened here. So next best thing, get liberated from within. Okay, so I found the way to start getting liberated from all these bindings of all these emotions that just tragically just devastate us, okay, keep us from shining our light. So that's what happened for me in the pursuit of, to be liberated from within, liberated from our thoughts, from our beliefs, from our emotions, liberated, okay? So I created the work that I've created. And now it's like very potent, powerful healing in the world. So that's how I, started my journey. And that's how I basically found the well of grief. Like I was saying earlier, I had moved to, I've lived up in the mountains and the Sierras. What is another thing, I spent 4 years in isolation up in the mountains in the Sierra foothills. Okay. Then I came off the mountain, came on down into the city, so to speak. And that's when I started my practice. I opened my door. Actually, no. Yeah, that's right. I went to San Jose, went to the mountains, to San Jose for a little while, and then back up into Auburn, the foothills. But basically, that's when it all started, was, in my own journey, trying to unravel, release, clear, heal stuff. So, yeah, quite a journey, people, So, and so the learning that happens is, when you're seeking something, like seriously seeking something, like I was, you learn so much along the way. Okay. And of course, I've had major life-changing experiences. I've had major unraveling and healing. I've done a lot of medicine work, where you're, using sacraments to open you up, to understand things. Many years of that kind of thing, which, there's things that you'll never get on your own, which I fully am aware of. You know, you need something that shifts you out of your consciousness into something much deeper, into your subconscious. So I got lots and lots of experience, lots of hands-on experience, and worked with tens of thousands of people, for real, okay? I've been tracking humanity my entire life, okay? So I know what works and what doesn't. I see things and know things that nobody else is even talking about. So if they do know them, no one's bringing them to the forefront. So, you know, all these teachings, you know, they came through direct hands-on experience working with tens of thousands of people. So again, just a reminder, the Well of Grief series, change your life. 4 parts, okay? Again, 4 parts, abandoned and forsaken. Everyone's got that. I don't care. Money won't make it go away, okay? And then soul-shattering despondency, the heartache, heartbreak, the intensity, the pain that everyone lives with because everyone in some way has been shattered, okay? And then the loss of others and self. Think about that. You know, think about the loss. I know this lifetime for me, loss started really early in my life, okay? And, you know, it's like it just never stopped. And the big ones were like my father. You know, I was just turned 16. 1 month later, he died. But prior to that, you know, it was my grandmother, very connected to grandmothers. And prior to that, close friends, you know, and then also critters, things of that nature. But then it just kept on going. So, you know, the whole loss thing is very intense, okay, very, very painful, as you all know, if you've lost anyone. And then, of course, we got that dark force interference, okay? There's always something up with that, okay? So, you know, if you want to, you know, start really unraveling your pain, the heartache that you do have inside, this series is going to be really potent, powerful. You know, my intention is I just want to clean up as deeply and profoundly as I can in your subconscious so that we release even the deepest forsaken energy, because that's anchored really deeply into your subconscious, that's a forsaken thing. Okay, so, and then you have all the other things that we live with, you know, feeling like we're judged. That makes us feel like we're not enough, we're not loved, we don't matter, those types of things. So, you know, it's like clean up all this stuff so that you can get freer. And think about this, people. The new paradigm is helping. The new paradigm is awesome because the light, especially this month, we got some intense, you guys. There's some, we've got the energy update. I'm not sure where it's at, but the energy update has amazing information this month on what's happening to help. Okay, so we've got that, and then we have we do have the energy update with Oceana. Oceana and I will be doing that together. Some of you, I don't know if everyone knows about that or not, but Oceana and I will be doing the tomorrow. Yeah, tomorrow at 2 p.m. It's free, you guys, and you get a clearing, and we have a drawing for Oceana to do a channeling. It's pretty fun. So tomorrow will be a really cool day. Okay. So we're talking about the energy update for the month of September. Just so y'all know, it's crazy intense. Okay. It's going to be hitting deep in your subconscious, bringing things to the surface. Okay. So you might want to get that Well of Grief, you know, unraveled a bit. Okay. So the Well of Grief series actually starts, let's see, I think it starts not tomorrow. It starts next Friday. Okay, so the Well of Grief starts at 2:30. And just a reminder, I'm live at 1:30 doing a quantum consciousness. So I'll be giving information, answering questions on that Friday before the actual clearing. Okay, so yeah. Okay, hang on a second. What is Abigail saying? Right, Nell. Yes, it does. I watched it. What? Charlene, thank you, sweetie. Yeah, Nell is saying that this is going to be a good one. I've always felt so sad. Yes, this is what I'm talking about. Okay. And again, people, remember, it isn't just, you got the clearing. It's not a one-time thing. the more you listen to it, the deeper and deeper and deeper it will go. Okay. And oh, this is cool, Abigail. This is awesome, girl. Way cool. Been dealing with a lot, but I'm better because I literally can't find a lot of emotions now. Yes, that's what happens. I love it. I love it. That's what happens. Yes. Hang on, Abigail, sweetie, though, but you do have, I can see it. You've done really good. Okay, I'm looking at you, and I'm looking, just so you know, there's a lot, there's some gray. What is the gray? We got some gray interference, but here's the well of grief. There's like gray foggy where I can tell a lot of work's been done, but they're still gray. But there's still another chunk right down here that gray is sitting on top of that you're not really aware of. So cleaning that out, going to be good. Really good. Yes. Cool. Yeah. So people, this is going to be really good. And I'm excited about it because I just know, you know, I lived with grief my entire life till this, like last year. Seriously. Okay. No matter what I did, there was still, I could never get it till I did. Okay. But the good news is, you guys, is, you know, you come and get the clearings and make sure it accelerates your whole journey. Okay. I had to do everything on my own by being activated, getting triggered, having reactions, and then walking my own teachings, dropping in, feeling, unraveling, clearing. And it changed my life, changed my world drastically. Okay. Like you guys, I was so shattered and broken. I was like that kid that she couldn't even function. I couldn't even talk to people. I mean, I was so devastated, so shattered, you know, it was like painful, extremely painful. I couldn't learn in school because my brain didn't work the same way. So I quit school, you know, but very painful life, very. So anyway, I'm here to help, and I would love to be able to help everyone get happy. All right, guys, so I'm going to head out. And remember, series starts not tomorrow, a week from tomorrow. Hope to see you there. Thanks for being here, everyone. Bye for now.